It's June 1st, and guess who's in first? Yeah, the Cubs. We're going to get into that today and a couple of trade candidates that are being mentioned by people in the business. Maybe a new third baseman, maybe a new starting pitcher. How valid are they? And would you want to make these moves? We're going to talk about that on the channel today. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, hit the bell. You guys have done this, and you've done such a great job of it. You Cubs fans have. You Cardinals fans? Oh boy. What do you say, everybody? Welcome to the Cubs Baseball Channel. And again, thank you for being here. I'm Mick Gillespie, and we try to do this every day. So thank you for hanging with us today. You can follow on all the socials at Broadcaster Mick. All right, there you go. Boom. All right, let's get into this because I know some of you are going, I don't care about that. I want to talk about my Cubs. You should want to talk about your Cubs because yesterday was another fantastic win. Great pitching. Ben Brown, hey, give the guy a tip of the cap. The bullpen was great. Keller, Daniel Palencia slamming the door. Pete Crow Armstrong making plays. The Cubs got just enough offense to win. And Dansby Swanson, I got to give the guy a ton of credit. That hustle to beat out the infield hit and get that second run in is why I love baseball. Yeah, that's why I love the game. I love watching guys that go out there and throw it all on the line and care. And you can tell that the guy cares a lot. Who cares about how much money he's making, his strengths and weaknesses and all that stuff. I love watching a guy go out there and give 110%. And he did on that play, and he's done that, and was a great win. It really was. So the Cubs right now are 36-22. They're +3 on the Cardinals and the rest of the division. So June starts the way that you want it to start. They're on pace to win 101 games. Now, what does that mean? Nothing. It means absolutely nothing because it doesn't matter what place you're in on June 1st. It matters what place you're in at the end of the season. So let's just keep that in mind. Now, I love it. It's much better than being in the back, right? What do they say? It's lonely in the top, but it's a B at the bottom, So there's a long way to go before the season ends. But this team has been absolutely fun to watch. They've dealt with their share of injuries, and somehow they have managed to stay at the top. I think Craig Counsell, through the first couple months, has done an excellent job of bringing in guys like Matt Shaw, like Cade Horton, and moving Daniel Palencia to the closer's role and giving him confidence there, making it easy on him. The situation at catcher has been fun to watch, but we've got a long way to go before the season's over. But even with that, what a great start to the year. All right, let's get into a couple of potential trade candidates, okay? And I'm not the one that and you guys love to get on to me. I'm not the one that came up with these, okay? I'm just going to comment on it so you and I can sit here and kind of, basically figure out if this is a legitimate deal or if someone's just basically throwing crap at the wall to see if it'll stick, right? So let's start with R.J. Anderson of CBS Sports. He named basically where Yoan Moncada could end up, right? Remember him with the White Sox. He was a player that was traded by the Red Sox in the Chris Sale deal, and everybody thought he was going to be the next big thing, and it just hasn't panned out that way. He's not a bad player, but he's not a superstar player. I mean, he's okay, right? This year he's with the Angels. He's hitting .240. He's got 6 home runs and 19 batted in, so he's had a pretty decent year. Cubs were rumored to be interested in him in the offseason, and then he ended up getting the deal with the Angels. Matt Shaw has, over the last, 3 series, been really good. Did the Cubs need to make this deal? That's the question that we have right now. And is this legitimate? right? 2019, he had a great year, 25 home runs, 79 runs batted in, had just under 65 extra base hits. He was somebody that people were voting for MVP. But if you're the Cubs, are you going to make a deal with the Angels for a guy when you're getting production out of Matt Shaw? You know, I mean, if you go all in, maybe you do this. What's Moncada going to do to the chemistry of the team? I think that's important. And I think that's something that the Cubs, before they do any deal, sign anybody, they need to make sure that it's someone that matches the chemistry of this clubhouse, because it is a great clubhouse from everything we hear right now. So, how's that going to work? Who are you going to give up for this guy? Are the Angels willing to trade him? I do think that, look, potentially it would make sense when the Cubs didn't have Matt Shaw playing so well at third. But and then the other part of it is this, you're trying to win a World Series. Moncada brings, if he puts up these kind of numbers, I mean, through the whole season, he's probably going to end up putting up better numbers than Shaw, at least so far, right? But Shaw's proven his case every time he's out there that the guy can handle it. And you don't want to mortgage the future away, basically for someone that I don't know that's that big of a difference maker. When the Cubs won the World Series and they went out and they traded for Aroldis Chapman, they gave up a ton of talent, but he won them the World Series. You just don't want to go all in and then lose in the first round. And who knows what the price is going to be for Moncada. I think that there's look, are they probably kicking the tires on this deal? Yeah. Are they totally sold on Shaw? No. Are they happy with what they're getting from Shaw right now? Definitely. And I think that we'll kind of continue to watch this and see, how things turn out with Shaw over at third base. But if he continues to play as good as he is, you can put your resources into pitching. And I really feel like that's an area where the Cubs need a lot of help, and that's pitching. And that's going to bring us to our next trade target, right? And so here's another one. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, is this legitimate, right? Could Ryan Weathers be the guy that the Cubs go after and to try to help the rotation? We kept hearing that it would be former NL Cy Young Award winner Sandy Alcantara, but he just hasn't been any good. You keep hearing his name in talks, and I know he's getting back over Tommy John, and there could come a point where he figures it all out, right? But Weathers has come back from injury, and the former first rounder drafted by the Padres in 2018, he's only 25 years old, has been really good so far. You're talking about only 3 starts, but a 1-0 record, a 1.15 ERA, 15 and 2/3 innings, 10 hits, 4 walks, and 15 strikeouts. The Marlins are going to try to make some moves here to build their, to try to build their team, because once again, they're in last place. They're 12 games out. They're not winning anything this year, and they're kind of in that rebuild mode, right? And the problem that they have is that they're also in a tough division. I mean, the Mets are good. The Phillies are good. And the Braves and the Nationals are 2 teams that are 8.5 back, and they're only 3 games under 500. So, I mean, you're talking about a really good division. They're going to be one of the first sellers this year. They're in that position right now, and Weathers certainly could be that guy. In his career, a 4.84 ERA, 11-21 record. Is he potentially someone that could help? Yeah. But the problem that I have with Weathers, if I'm the Cubs, I mean, what are you going to give up for him? He had a forearm strain that kept him from getting a season started, a finger strain in 2024, an ankle injury in 2021. So only one real significant injury. But when you start talking about forearm injuries, a lot of times they turn into major surgeries. So you're taking a risk. And anytime you get a pitcher, you're taking a risk. But is Weathers worth that risk? I don't know. I feel like, and I've talked about this with some people, off the show, is that I feel like eventually Alcantara is going to be that guy that gets healthy. When guys come back from, the Tommy Johns, it takes a while. It's not an overnight thing. And so, when I look at that, I'm like, I feel like teams have their scouts there and they're just waiting to see something, right? Cubs at it, Genesis, Cabrera, they're going to keep on doing things to try to figure out a way to get some help before the trade deadline really kicks in, right? So we're June 1st. When are teams going to start making deals? There's only a few teams that I look at and go, okay, they're out of it. And so that kind of puts you in a spot, if you're a front office, where you're like, okay, when are we, when are we comfortable, making a deal, right? So, just talking about Alcantara, who again is coming back from that Tommy John, season stats look like this. That 8.47 ERA definitely isn't helping at all. 2-7 record. Nobody wants that. The velo hasn't quite gotten back to where it was before. He's given up more earned runs than any other pitcher right now in baseball, 48 and 51 innings. I mean, but the Marlins are trying to be patient, because they know that if there comes that point where he turns the corner, then somebody's going to want to get him. Now, last start, 4 innings against the Padres, and he gave up 6 runs. So he hasn't figured it out yet. And you're not going to want to make a deal for a guy that's given up 9 runs an inning. I mean, we had that last year with our buddy Kyle Hendricks, and that's not going to work. The math's not going to work. So, as interesting as this is, the secret is going to be basically paying attention to him and seeing if there comes that point where he starts to kind of get it figured out. Cubs and Reds, Wrigley Field, another awesome day game. Some of you guys, maybe by the time you're watching this, will have already seen the game. I know that some of you guys watched before or after, but it's Nick Martinez for the Reds, Jameson Taillon for the Cubs. Martinez 3-5, a 3.48 ERA, and Taillon 4-3 with a 3.86 ERA. So the Cubs look for the series victory. They want to keep on rolling. And the Reds have been tough. Look, the Reds are a tough team. They're a thorn in our side. Anytime we beat them is great. So for the series victory this afternoon at Wrigley Field. All right, thank you guys for hanging out. I love the comments. How many of you guys were like, hell no on Paul Skeens? How many of you were like, hey, I'll take the guy today? It's just what this is all about, man. Get in there and say, it's like we're all sitting at a bar talking about baseball, no matter where you are, where you're from. As long as you're a Cubs fan, you're going to enjoy being here doing that. And then where do we go next? If Jed continues to build, continues to just try to add the right pieces to the mix, but not lose the chemistry of this team, I think that's going to be a season that we'll all remember. But I like the way this team's playing right now. Pete Crow Armstrong, what a day in the outfield, making plays. If he's not beating you with his bat, he's beating you with his glove. That's what makes him, to me, a serious MVP candidate, Kyle Tucker. So anyway, look, thank you guys for hanging. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, as I ask you to do every day. Help me build this channel. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. You guys are awesome for helping me get to where we are right now. But it's our thing, man. So share with your Cubs friends and make it part of your daily routine. And we'll do it again tomorrow. Thank you. Go Cubs.